There we are. We are officially live. Welcome, everyone, to this evening's presentation. My name's Dan, talking about boosting your business with Facebook advertising. We've got a few people coming into the room. For those that are in here, welcome. Great to have your company on a, Thursday evening. Great to have you, John, Ivy, Paul, Hanip, Emma, Michelle, and Mira. Thanks very much for giving up your Thursday evening or some of your Thursday evening. Good thing about this format and being on a webinar is that I can't see you. So you can have dinner, you can have a glass of wine, a beer, whatever tickles your fancy, and you can take some notes as you go. This evening session, you will get a copy of all of the slides. We will be going into a fair bit of detail. So it's a fairly full-on 2 hours. I like to be able to give some time, everyone some time to ask questions that I can answer at the end as well. A little bit of housekeeping. Firstly, for those that are watching the recording, you can probably fast forward just a minute or so. Paul's having chocolate. Perfect. If you're having dinner, let us know what you're having dinner for or what you're planning for dinner tonight. I'll be well and truly hungry by the end of it. So a little bit of housekeeping on the right-hand side. You can see the chat window there. You'll see a little message from me while we're sort of getting started here. Feel free to drop a name of your business, what you do, where you're from, and even link to your website if you like. More than welcome to push people to your business and promote your business. Great opportunity to meet some people from similar areas, similar space, or all small businesses supporting one another. That has been obviously a really difficult 12 months, but particularly a recent period as well. While you're typing that out, underneath the chat section is the polls section, and you'll see a poll there at the moment, which is interesting. I'll keep an eye on that throughout as well, on people that have run Facebook ads before. So if you have run, if you've just hit the boost button before, that's fine as well. Or if you haven't run, I'd love to hear, just so I can get an idea on where people are at in their Facebook advertising journey. And if you want a copy of the slides that I'm presenting from tonight, of course, I'd encourage you to follow along and just follow along for the next couple of hours. But if you want a copy afterwards, you can recap a couple of things or pique your interest, by all means, you can download a copy of the slides there as well as a bunch of other resources on that page as well. Eddie's from FitMe in the Western Suburbs. John's wondering, where does the beer arrive? That's up to you, John. I can't help with that. I was tempted, I'm not going to lie, but I thought, no, Daniel, be good. It's only Thursday. You still got Friday tomorrow. So the beer will have to wait until afterwards. Emma's from Posh Crumpets. Cool. That sounds awesome. Michelle from Mini Maestros in Altona North. That's awesome. Amazing. Thank you very much, folks. What else? Mira's having cheese for dinner as well. All righty. Well, let's get underway. I'm going to officially welcome you to this evening's presentation. We are talking boosting business with Facebook advertising. My name is Dan Pinney. Moya's logged in as me, by the way. So if you see another Dan Pinney in there, Moya's somehow managed to hack my system. And if you see that is Moya, not the other Dan Pinney impersonator. I'll be presenting. Moya is from Sports First in Eltham, though, if you want to do that. I did running some solar panels, sale and installation business as well. Thanks for joining us, folks. As I mentioned, next couple of hours, going to be fairly in-depth. We are going to cover what is a really big topic and what is something that is difficult to go into a lot of really minute detail. I think in 2 hours, we can get a fair bit there, but if there is some things you would like to explore further in this session and you think that Facebook advertising is the right avenue for you and you'd like to explore it, then I encourage you to take advantage of the ASBAS Digital Solutions Program. Good news, it's been extended for another 12 months as well. So for the next financial year, I think I'm correct in saying that. Francisco, if you have any questions about the program as well, just contact the guys at ASBAS. Francisco from the ASBAS program is also in the room as well, and he will answer any questions in the chat if you've got them there as well. You can access 2 hours mentoring of one-on-one mentoring with myself, where we can basically go into more detail on what we did today, assess if you've run some ads, what to do next, coming up with a bit of a strategy, jumping into Ads Manager, showing you around what buttons to press, how to set up a campaign. You get a recording of the whole session because we're doing it on Zoom. You get all the notes as well. I think that they're really invaluable, and for $25 for a couple of hours isn't a bad deal as well. Let's talk about what we're going to cover this evening. So we're going to go into a little bit of why we're spending 2 hours talking about Facebook ads. For successful Facebook ads, so we need to not just start jumping into Ads Manager and just set up an ad. We need to actually get our message right first, and you'll find out why that's the most important part. And then we'll talk about Facebook advertising funnels and setting up campaigns and the structure of campaigns. As I mentioned, all of the slides are available this evening. You can get them a couple of different ways. That link at the bottom of that slide there, organic digital with a k.com.au/ASBAS is where they are. And just look for the title of this evening's presentation, which is Boosting Your Business with Facebook Advertising. That link is at the bottom of every slide. You can also go to them directly on the right-hand side under the offers section, and you can hit the button there to download the slides. A little bit about myself. If you're going to be seeing a little inset of myself down the bottom left-hand corner, I'm going to take my headphones out as well because I don't need to listen to you. You just need to listen to me, unfortunately. Down the bottom left-hand corner is my face. I'm Dan. Hi. I have been doing this for, I should probably update this now, probably closer to 6 years now. 2020, I just wiped out of my memory. I've been in this space for a little while, though. A background in social media and digital marketing across sports, TV, and in the corporate space as well. I'm not a Melbourne local. I grew up in my hometown of Merimbula and lived in Melbourne for 15 years, though. So that's a little bit about me. Let's get into you and the background of Facebook ads and why it's popular, the capabilities, and let's chat about your customers. Now, I'm going to have a look at the poll to see how we're going over there. So it's about 50-50, but of people that have and haven't, or actually more haven't. It's changing as we go. It's a live poll. Yes, I have run ads 36. I've boosted posts before 9%, or no, I haven't at 54%. So when I'm talking about ads, the reason why I put two options there for yes, I have, or I've only boosted posts before, the reason why I've got both of those options is we're going to be talking about the Ads Manager side of things today, which when I'm comparing boosted posts to Ads Manager, and if you're an admin of your Facebook page, you may have got those notifications from Facebook to say, this post is performing, 78% better than your other posts. You could pay $27 and reach another 4,000 people in your local area. Hit the button, we'll give us your details, and we'll do the targeting for you. It's a very light version of what we're going to cover, and has some very basic options. There are limited targeting, limited budget optimization. Doesn't allow you to really customize it across different platforms. It does make things trying to track results quite difficult as well. It doesn't probably give you the level of insight that you need as a business to be able to make more strategic decisions. So when we're talking this evening about making those decisions and setting out your strategy and talking about your customers, we are talking about Ads Manager. It's a slightly more advanced version. You have more of the targeting options. You've got a lot more customization that you can do as far as the goals that you want out of your campaign, a lot more options to adjust, and you can see clearly and succinctly the results that your ad campaigns are getting, all in the one view with all of your different campaigns that are potentially running at the same time. So I just want to make sure that we are on the same page, that when you go into your Facebook page and it says Ad Center, it's actually another bit past that. You can actually just go to facebook.com/ads/manage, I think it is, to get directly there. But in that Ad Center part of your Facebook page, if you are there, at the bottom of all the results, there'll be a little thing to say, see more campaigns or see more results in Ads Manager. And that Ads Manager is really what we want to get to. The ads section of your Facebook page is equivalent to the boosted post and the light function. So I hope that makes sense, differentiating between the two. Another little caveat that I'll mention as well is that when I'm talking about Facebook ads, I'm also always including Instagram ads. Okay. In Ads Manager, it's simply another button that you click to show your ad across Instagram as well. Facebook own both platforms. They have the ability to target people, use all the similar targeting and interest options that you have on Facebook across Instagram as well. And so, when I'm talking about Facebook, I also mean Instagram as well. You can do both. You can do either or. It's totally up to you. I'm going to end that poll in the meantime as well. John just got a quick boost posters in Ad Center. No, so it's actually different. Yeah, John, thank you for asking that. Yeah, so that's different than what I mentioned in the back end of the page. It's Ads Manager is what you want to look for. Easiest place to get there, jump on Google, type Facebook Ads Manager. Once you're logged into Facebook, it will prompt you to, it will send you to your Facebook Ads Manager from there as well. Okay. Why it's popular. Now, the biggest benefit that, the biggest, I guess, aspect, powerful aspect that Facebook has is its database. The reason why there's so much money spent on Facebook ads, that people do get results from Facebook ads, is purely because there is enough people using the platform around the world. With over 2.3 billion people users just on Facebook at the moment. They've got 2 of the 4 largest messaging apps in the world as well that people forget about, Facebook Messenger, and they own WhatsApp as well. And you can be sure that there'll be some sort of ads or capability to communicate with customers. There actually already is capacity to communicate with customers across WhatsApp as well. Not only that, as I mentioned, they own Instagram, which is now over 1 billion users, and they're an active bunch as well. So you know that even though they've got the database there, people are using all of these platforms more regularly, which means that it's the power of Facebook advertising is be able to become more effective because they can tell what people are or aren't doing. They can adjust accordingly, and they can go out and get you better results because people are giving them the data that they need to make better decisions for you. So that is why it is so popular. And when you try to compare it against a lot of other platforms, it is a little bit difficult, honestly, to compare it apples to oranges. A lot of people will compare Google ads to Facebook, 2 totally different types of platforms. I'm going to explain why I think they're totally different, but I want to talk about the capabilities of Facebook ads and what is actually going on behind the scenes so you can understand how you can get to the end result that you want to get. So when we're talking about the biggest thing that Facebook have done from day dot, and Facebook ads have been around, I think I ran my first ad in about 2012, but they were even around a couple of years before that. And it's certainly come a long way since then. But over the years, they've put a lot of investment into the infrastructure to make their targeting algorithm as accurate as possible, right? They have thousands of different data points, not only on what you're doing on the platform, but what you're doing off the platform, which apps you're downloading, which websites you're going to, what you're doing on those websites. And they've evolved from initially when you used to run ads, you may target some particular interests. So I'm interested in dogs or I'm interested in cats. Okay, now what they've actually evolved into is more of a behavior platform, so they know who is more likely to actually perform that action that you want to do. So what that means is that they can find people that are more likely to buy dog toys or more people that are likely to watch more cat videos. Okay. So when advertisers are putting their campaigns out there, it's not necessarily asking them, do you want to get more sales or do you want to get more followers or whatever it is? It's do you want to drive some more traffic through to your website? Do you want to get more people to watch your video? Do you want to get more people to buy that particular product or get to that particular stage on your website as a conversion? And the great thing that all of the targeting opportunities that I'm going to be talking about this evening is available to each and every single advertiser out there. What I talk about, what I've got access to, what the biggest companies around the world have access to is exactly the same as what you've got access to. It's a complete level playing field. Obviously, the only difference is slight difference in budget. But the big thing is that Facebook want to encourage advertisers to give their users the best experience possible. And this is really important to think about in the back of your mind when you're setting out your campaigns, is when we go back to this database, if Facebook start losing users and people start abandoning their platform, all of a sudden their share price starts to dive. So at the top of the pecking order, even if we give them money, hand over fist, day in, day out, and we are the one that are contributing to their balance sheet at the end of the quarter, at the top of the pecking order of everyone are the user base. Because if Facebook and Instagram start to alienate its user base and create a poor experience by showing irrelevant, poor quality, not relevant ads to people, then they will start to use the platform less because it doesn't give them a great experience. And this has been something recently that a lot of people have commented on, and I'll go into why it's happened, but a lot of people have said, I'm seeing a lot more ads in Facebook and Instagram now. Well, it's not necessarily, there's definitely not any more ads than there was a couple of months ago or a few weeks ago. It's still the same every 3 to 4 posts, I think it is. But what has happened recently is that there's been this sort of privacy battle between Facebook and Apple. And so there's been a little bit of the data that Facebook usually has access to cut off. And so when it comes to making decisions around showing more accurate, relevant ads, they don't have that data to make better decisions, which means that there are more irrelevant ads out there. And people are seeing the irrelevant ads because the best ads are the ones that people don't know they're an ad. So you're not seeing more ads, you're just seeing crappier ads. Okay. And at the end of the day, what Facebook are trying to do is to give its user base the best experience, trying to keep them within the platform by prioritizing mediums such as video. They know that if people consume one video, they're more likely to consume another, to go down that rabbit hole that we might have all been when we're scrolling down. They know that if they watch more video, that then there's more likelihood that an ad can go in front of them, again, of course. But they've also had to try and expand the areas that they can place these advertisements in front of people. Some other platforms like an audience network, apps, obviously Instagram, into stories, Messenger, because there are more advertisers wanting to spend more money than there is real estate or ad slots available, right? So effectively, they've sold out their ad capacity, which means that it becomes more competitive. And by no means are Facebook ads as cheap as they were a few years ago. Even this time last year, they're nowhere near as cheaper as they were. And that will continue to happen, right? Ads get more expensive. That's just the way that things go, because competition gets more competitive, and it means that Facebook are paying more attention to the advertisers that are getting better results and getting better reactions, according to also their business outcomes, by keeping people on the platform, by creating a great experience, by driving more engagement, that they can not only show the ad and earn some money from that, but they can earn some money from and some kudos from their users that are having a great experience. Okay. Now, underneath all of this, when you set up these ads, when you're targeting these different people, the great thing with in Ads Manager, it is very transparent, right? It is, you can set up your Ads Manager and your view, and there are dozens of different metrics in there, but you can see how much I spent. And if you're an e-commerce business, for instance, and you're selling product online, or if you're wanting to get leads and you know roughly how much those leads are worth to you at the end of the day, you can go, this is how much I spent and this is how much I earned, right? Because when those people check out or they sign up, you can assign a value to that checkout. Sometimes Facebook can actually do it automatically through a free little extension, I'm going to show you tonight as well, that sends that data back to Facebook Ads Manager. So when you are making decisions, you can go, well, this audience is performing really well, or this ad is doing much better than this ad over here. And it helps you make better strategic decisions, not only in your ads campaigns, but as a business as well. You get better feedback by being like, oh, I didn't think that message would resonate with my potential customers, or, wow, we're selling a lot of product. People are fascinated with this product or service. Maybe we need to get some more stock or offer it as more of a service. Maybe we need to increase the price of it. So the capabilities then flow into why you sort of need to think about Facebook ads very differently. And you'll notice that I do go into a lot of detail tonight. And to be honest, I don't make any apologies for that, because if you're going to sit here for 2 hours and then you're going to venture down Facebook ads manager as a Facebook ads as a marketing tactic for your business, you need to be aware that you need to put in the work. Okay. They aren't easy. Like, no ifs or buts about it. You've got to get your ducks in a row before you can even hit a Facebook ad campaign live. Because if you take shortcuts, they won't work. I can all but guarantee that they will not work. You need to put the work in first. So you need to understand that it is a very, it's an emotional platform, but you need to have that analytical brain. You need to understand, your users and be able to tell a story and what connects with them, but also do it in a way that Facebook prefers, right? According to the business outcomes that they're trying to do, according to, what outcomes you want to get, what outcomes they want to get, and what sort of experience they want to deliver for their customers as well. Paul's has got a question: is it just me or the presentation freezing? Just let me know if I am freezing in the comments there, Paul. Sometimes you can hit I'm not sure where it is for the user because I'm seeing the admin view, but you can hit the refresh button up there as well. But according to my stats here, the signal is okay. Okay, all right. So, thinking about it differently, perfect combination of understanding people and having that EQ over IQ, and being able to have, sometimes people are one or the other. Sometimes they only have little elements of both. If you can get a combination between the two, it's going to provide the best success possible. And this is a quote that I put in all of my presentations. I wish I knew who actually said it so I could attribute it. But at the end of the day, as consumers and customers, you, me, are all customers. We're all consumers. We are starved for connection, not attention. On any one particular day, we could be hit with over 30,000 different media messages as we go about our life, right? Which means that because there is more ads, more media, more people, brands and businesses and just general life trying to get our attention, it means that we've got to make more decisions, and it means that we need to block out a lot more noise, and it then elongates the decision-making process, the steps that people take to convert, and that conversion can just be going to your website, right? Or it might be picking up the phone, or it might be filling out an inquiry form. Whatever it is as long as it's ever been. There's a study by Salesforce. They've probably done the most detailed one, and it was a few years old, to be honest. It'd be interesting to see post-pandemic how this has changed. But some people say, Salesforce say up to 6 to 7 touch points. So your brand, your logo needs to be in front of someone at least 6 to 7 times before they even take that first step in going, I will go and find out more. That's not, I've seen that logo, now I will buy a product. That's just, all right, okay, I've seen you a few times. I'm starting to recognize you now. I'll take that next step. On average, 6 to 7 times. Some people say it's upwards of 17 times. So there is no one single ad that will work. And I like to, apologies if you've been on one of my presentations before. I always pull out this story. It's a relevant story because it illustrates how people go through a decision-making process. This is a customer journey of mine. I, a couple of years ago, bought a new pair of shoes, and I decided to document the whole process on how I went about my decision, how I look back on the ads I got, the behaviors that I did, the actions that I took. So I'm going to run through from day one to 2.5 weeks later when I purchased my pair of shoes. Day one, this is me up here exiting the gym on it was around this time of year. It was a cold winter's evening. Walked out of the gym and slipped on the tiles out the front. I didn't completely slip over, but my shoes and my visits to the gym were very infrequent, but my shoes were probably about 6 to 12 months past being replaced. So on the way home, I was on Instagram. Actually, I just happened to open it, right? And now some people might go, "Oh, that's a weird action to have, but some people might just go, I need a new pair of shoes. I go to Google, I Google shoes, and then I go buy a pair of shoes. Great. All right. If there's more of customers like you out there, you're going to make it all of our lives a hell of a lot easier. Unfortunately, they're very few and far between. Okay. Now, I looked at my shoes and I was like, yeah, I probably need to get them replaced. Look, I'll jump on Instagram and I searched the hashtag sneakerhead. I was just searching stuff. Sneakerhead is a hashtag that curates all of the latest styles of sneakers. I thought it was I was cool enough to be able to get a new pair of shoes, that had the hashtag sneakerhead. I followed a few different accounts while I was on there as well. It was about 3 to 4 minutes worth of browsing. And that was it. I didn't do anything else on that day. And then 5 days later, on day 6, I was back on Instagram. Now, I saw a post from one of those brands that I followed the other day. And it was actually a cool little video that drove me to go and watch more of the video and read the blog post that was on their website. So I went from Instagram over to their website. I watched the video on there. It was a video that appealed to me. There were a pair of shoes that were made from recycled plastic bottles. I think they were Adidas ones. And I was like, wow, these are really cool. They actually look really good. I got to the website. I watched the video. Then I looked at the product and realized they were about $450 and a little bit out of my price range for a new pair of runners. But I watched it anyway, and I'm on their website. Now they've got me, right? 4 days later, day 10, I get the first ad. This megaphone here is the first Facebook ad I got. And the first Facebook ad was sign up to our email list and you get 10% off, I think it was. Maybe it was 15. So I went to their website, filled out the form, name, email, great, we'll send you your code. While I was there, I browsed some other pairs of shoes that I was like, even though the ones the other day were a little bit more expensive, I'd obviously glanced at some others, but I wasn't really that interested or in the mind frame to go and browse them. So I went and looked while I was there, knowing that everything that I saw was going to be 10% cheaper because I had my code. Then so that was day 10 browsing. 4 days later, day 14, I get another ad up here, and it recognized which shoes I was looking at, knew that I'd been looking at the men's shoes in the joggers or runners category. And so I had a nice little carousel in front of me that said, here are some more shoes that you might like. I could scroll across and I could browse a few. There was different colors. There was different brands. Couple caught my eye. I thought, yep, right. These are the ones that, that's locked it in for me, secured it for me. These are the ones that I want to get. They look really good. They've got them in my size. Jumped on their website and I actually added the pair of shoes to my shopping cart. Now, this is an interesting little thing a lot of shoppers do. I didn't necessarily do it to try and get another ad, even though I knew that in the back of my mind. But it was actually just because I was on my phone and I was on the train on the way home when we were in a packed train and we could do that. And I was on my way home. And I wasn't going to I had one hand on the rail thing and I wasn't going to stop, pull out my wallet, pull out the credit card, punch it in on my phone, fill out all the address, shipping details, go and get the discount code they'd sent me on my email. So I just had the cart going, I'll just leave it for later. Sure enough, a couple of days later, I get an advert, come back and complete my purchase. And because they've got my email address, they also sent me an email as well to say, is there anything else we can help with? Would you like to come back and complete your purchase? I click the button in my email and it said, don't forget your discount code as well. Went over to the website. I was on the desktop like I am tonight and entered the details. 2.5 weeks later, entered credit card, and the day after, my shoes were posted to me. That is one relatively small decision-making process that I took to buy a pair of shoes that I don't think it didn't, it didn't hold, I wasn't thinking about it every day for 2.5 weeks straight. I had a lot of other things going on in my life, but it's an example of how long it takes for people to be able to get to the point of actually converting and actually going from non-aware and not knowing who you are as a business and what you do and what you can offer them to the ability where you're like, okay, this is something I need to go and find out more about. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're looking at running Facebook ads. And John's got a question there: does it mean Facebook ads need to run for a longer term? Yeah, John, to be able to get results and be able to see what is and isn't working, you do need to think about running them for a longer term. It's certainly one thing that Facebook ads manager or Facebook in general hate with ads campaigns is when ads are switched on and off, and you're spending, $30 here, $50 there, $10, $5, whatever it is. I can't get consistency. And Facebook's algorithm loves data, right? It loves to consume more information. And if you can give it fresh information and you can start to give it some more audiences with different ads as well, it means that people have, so it can optimize your ads to get you better results over time. But yeah, you can't switch an ad campaign on and expect to work overnight. And so you do need to change your thinking a little bit from going from one-off campaigns and sale campaigns and something that, I need a little bit of bump on my balance sheet. Why don't I just throw a Facebook ad up there? We've got a sale coming up. Let's just boost it for $50. That's not a long-term strategy, and that's not going to do your business any favors. And it's certainly 9 times out of 10, or probably 99 times out of 100, I should say, because it's closer, are not going to work. So you need to shift your thinking. One campaign doesn't reflect the whole customer journey. You can't also take that one ad or that one offer that you've got and scale it to everyone, because it's not relevant to everyone. Different people are interested in your business for different reasons, which means it's not relevant. And if it doesn't work and it bombs, you've got nothing else to go with. You're putting all your eggs in one basket. So you need to go from creating ads to creating ad campaigns and reflecting what that whole customer journey is. And you'll notice that shape of the funnel, which we're going to start talking about now, and how you go out to a broader audience. And as people interact with you, there'll be less people, but the idea is gradually to get where you, at the end of it, people are there that have purchased or are ready to purchase. But understanding that everyone's decision-making process is different, that sometimes it might take people like me 2.5 weeks, and it might take other people 2 hours or 2 months. And all we can really do is give ourselves the best chance possible as businesses, that when someone is ready and is looking for your solution, and an ad speaks to them in a way that connects with them, that it shows it to them at the right time. Now, we can do that a little bit with the analytical side of things, but we have no idea what is going through people's brains and minds at a particular point in their life. So we just need to aim to be front of mind. It's the best chance that we can give ourselves as businesses and as Facebook ads managers out there as well. If you can show something that's relevant and keep them engaged, it's more likely that funnel, they will progress further and further to the point, closer to the point of conversion. So I'm going to recap. If you've got any questions, I do take breaks throughout the presentation as well, where you can see this little people cheering slide to ask questions there as well. Recapping, Facebook advertising is competitive. Yeah, it's getting more expensive. People are seeing it as a great opportunity for them. The algorithm, the thing that dictates when people see which ad and who it's shown to and when and where and why, knows more about your customers than you do. Okay, whether you like it or not, it has more data. It knows a lot more about their lives than we do as businesses. So we need to put a little bit of an element of trust in the Facebook algorithm to, rely that it can, or assume that it can show the right ad to the right person at the right time. But that comes down to our I can't remember if it was the left or right brain, but the analytical brain to be able to do that as well. The customer journey is as long as it's ever been. And no one single ad will drive meaningful results for your business. Now that we've sort of understood the background of it, I want to get into unpicking that a little bit and jumping into your customers and how you can communicate with them as well. Has anyone got any questions in the meantime? If I think that I'm going to cover it off throughout the rest of the presentation and you do type a question and I don't answer it, that's why, because I'll make sure that I refer to it once I get through as well. All right, let's talk about connecting with your customers. And some of this stuff you might have done before, but you need to come at it from a different lens when it comes to Facebook ads. Hopefully, you know your customers. Hopefully, you know what triggers them, what pain points, desires, problems that they're facing that you can help solve. But we need to think about how can we turn that into a decent Facebook ad. So you need to understand them. You need to know them better. You need to really know them better, like on a personal level, why they choose yours. Choose your business over their competitors, and you need to understand them better than your competitors. It's a competitive industry. You need to understand them, and that will obviously help you create better campaigns than the other businesses out there. By clarifying your message and helping them overcome challenges, by giving them what the next step might be in their journey. I'm going to give you some examples and how I kind of use this formula to unpack this a little bit. But that's how you can get a response from them and stand out, and going back to not just wanting their attention, but getting a connection from them by coming up with these different little prompts I'm going to talk about. Now, if you've got a pen and paper handy, by all means, you can write this wherever you like. Again, of course, you're going to get these slides, but this is basically the formula that I use for not just Facebook ads, but any kind of piece of content or marketing tactic, whether it be a blog post, a Facebook ad, or whatever, an email. This is the formula I use: PAS, problem, agitation, solution. All right. Now, and you need to do this formula for every one of your customers, every one of your products or services out there, and go through this in a little bit detail. And really, this is a hard task to do as business owners because we are so close to it, and sometimes we're the worst people to try and go through this. So often I particularly when I run Facebook ad campaigns for businesses out there, that's the service that I provide. When I do this with clients, really delving deep on, is that really what their problem is? So when we're talking about what is the actual main problem that the customers are facing, like the actual main problem, not just the immediate thing that you solve. Now, you might not be able to solve everything that customer is facing, okay? But if you can solve a little element of it, or give them a step that at least helps them solve one problem, then they know they're going to get closer to that final problem. You can call it a problem, a desire, a barrier, whatever it is, okay? I say problems and it seems like a negative, but it's more the where they want to get to, right? What their desires are. Agitation. So the agitation section, that refers to how you show that you understand what they're going through. So you actually talk to them as an individual and be able to demonstrate that you understand and you are aware of what they're thinking in their mind, the things that they subconsciously say to themselves when they're like, I wish I could have that, or gee, it'd be nice to do this, or why have they got it and I haven't, right? Being able to know that they're asking themselves those questions and demonstrating and communicating, whether it be in copy, whether it be in video, is going to show that you can connect with them, that they can trust you, and that you understand them, right? The connection. And then the solution is how you can provide a solution to that, how you can help overcome that problem, achieve that desire, whatever it is. All right, I'm going to give you a little task. So this might be a pen and paper problem task, but you can do it if you've got a notes app or whatever you want. I want you to come up with one of your main customers and just write PAS. And I'm going to run through, I'm not sure why I chose these industries. Some of these probably less relevant given the current environment that we're in, but I'm going to run through some of them. I think this was from when I did a presentation. I knew that there was some beauticians, tour guides, and accountants coming across, quite a diverse type of industry. So the main problem your customers are facing. So let's take beauticians, for instance. They want to look good on the outside, right? They want to feel confident. They want to be able to, when they're walking down the street, they want to feel good about themselves. Okay. Now the beautician can't do everything. Okay. But that's where at the end of the day, the customers want to get to. That is a desire of why they're looking at a beautician as part of that solution. Now, tour guides, when people are traveling, they're trying to find a unique and memorable experience, something that's different, something that, they can remember for decades. Remember we went on that trip to, I don't know, 25 kilometers away? No, something that comes up in your Facebook memories and you can remember, okay, that was unique and is different than what everyone else is doing. An accountant, depending on, what sort of accountant they are, but if we're talking about accountants for individuals, at the end of the day, their clients and their customers just want to be able to put food on the table and provide for their family, potentially, right? For mum or dad, if the accountant can just be like, it's something that we don't really need to know too much about. They just need to do what we need to do and tick off that thing. And at the end of the day, if it means that I either get return or I don't get return, or it means I can provide for my family and I'm not going to get in trouble for not doing my tax, and that's all that really matters to me at the end of the day if I was one of their potential customers. So then we go through the agitation side. How can we understand what they're going through? How can we demonstrate that the beautician knows their customers and the tour guide and the accountant? Beauticians, I know it's difficult to know what look can suit you, and how to accomplish it, and what style will make you feel better about yourself. But that's why we're here. We're here to, understand you, what you're trying to do, how you would like to look, what sort of feeling you'd like to achieve. Is there anyone, that you emulate, style, etc.? The beautician is the expert, and they know that their customers come to them because if they knew how to do it, they do it at home. Now, the tour guides know that, when you're visiting a new place or a new city or a new town, that sometimes the choice can be confusing and overwhelming, and there is a little bit of unknown as to what the final experience will be. That's why sites like TripAdvisor are around, okay? Because people don't want to go and book an unknown and then get to the end of it and be like, well, that was a waste of a couple of hours or my whole day and money and everything like that. Like, I want to have a great, memorable experience. I don't want to come away from this regretting it. An accountant can be like, look, I know that as, individuals, some of the terminology can be confusing and overwhelming, and not sure how to do it properly, and it's confusing looking on the tax office website, and at the end of the day you just want to not get fined and make sure that you can provide for your family. Well, I'm here to help you with the next step, which is the solution, right? So the beautician's like, I understand you, I know what you're looking for, here's our XYZ service. Tour guide. Our tours are unique. You can see what people have said here. You can see some excerpts of either what people have said or the experience of what happens. Here's what goes on behind the scenes. Here's some things you will experience. Here's how you will feel when you come away from our tour doing this. And being able to show this is why our tour is a solution for you. The accountant, at the end of the day, I'm going to help you get your money back so you can put food on the table, so you don't go and get fined by the tax office, so you feel more confident. It's one less thing that you have to worry about in this world that we live in. Okay? So what I would love you to do, if just for a couple of minutes, and again, thinking about one of your particular customers. Sometimes you might have, two particular markets, and thinking about one of your main products or services that you offer. Just, jot down some ideas. PAS, what is the problem? Like, deep down, what are they trying to do? Now, don't just try to think, if I was to take a very shallow approach for these industries, and when I was looking at the problem, and Mira, this might help with you. So the beautician might be just like, well, they just want to get a facial. Well, no one really just, I don't know, is just on a whim, just being like, oh, I'm just going to get a facial. Like, it's just, there's got to be a reason why you're thinking of getting a facial, right? You don't just the thought just doesn't pop into your brain, and all of a sudden on autopilot, you walk into the beautician and just say, I'll just have a facial, thanks. There's got to be some reasons as to why you would like that. Okay. The tour guides, people don't just go, oh, well, I just provide tours. No, you provide experiences. You provide a memorable day out that you can talk about for years to come, right? You're not just providing what that service is. An accountant, yes, I just, they just want to do their tax return. Yeah, but why do they want to do their tax return? Sure, they have to, but why would they choose you and trust you over 15 other accountants in the local area, or why couldn't I do it myself? Okay, at the end of the day, I can do my tax return myself. Why should I get an accountant to do it? Okay, you need to understand. So, Mira, when we're talking about solving problems and a desire, so problems / desires are relatively the same. Okay, Mira, what if you sell something? What if you sell something like art? It doesn't solve a problem. I'd beg to differ. It helps people feel more proud of their home. It helps people tell a story when people enter their house and talk about that piece of art that is on the wall. It helps, if it's a gift, it helps you feel proud about giving it as a gift to someone. All the different emotions that, why, at the end of the day, why do people buy art, right? What makes a good piece of art compared to something else? Okay, that's what you're trying to sell. Why are people buying digital pieces of art at the moment that they can't even hang on their wall? They own the art, right? The whole thing is, yes, I like the look of it, I like the feel of it, but one of the other big things in the art world is that I like to say that I'm an owner of this art piece. That is mine, and I have a copy of that, and I have the only copy of that, or one of the very few pieces of copy. I hope that makes sense. Paul's got a good suggestion there as well. John has a great point around, I'm not sure if you do that, John, sell mattresses, but he doesn't sell mattresses. He sells a good night's sleep. Now, that good night's sleep, it's going to help you get up and at 'em for the next day. It's going to help you attack the next day with more confidence. It's going to help you more productive. And when you're on a webinar at 6:45 on a Thursday evening, listening to a guy talking about the problems that you're trying to solve, you've got enough energy to be able to put up with him. You're selling a good night's sleep. It's a really good one, John. Well done. All right. I hope I haven't been rambling. I'm sorry, I have been rambling, but I hope you've managed to be able to tick off a couple of those things under the PAS formula there as well. So I just want to reiterate that customer journey again, as if I was to sort of overlay that in that the big thing that, this piece of content over here was that video that I said that was talking about the recycled pair of shoes, right? Now, at the end of the day, I just want to get a new pair of shoes. But the reason why I chose this supplier over others is because this piece of content, this video, spoke to my values, right? Spoke to my desires. I wanted a new pair of shoes that, yes, they look good, they made me feel good, they performed well, but also that I can be proud of. If I could get a new pair of shoes that were made out of plastic bottles that look good, and then when people were like, "Oh, I like your shoes," I'd be like, "Yeah, they're made out of recycled plastic bottles." That made me feel really good. Right? Fortunately, they were out of my price range. Otherwise, I would have got them. But at the end of the day, when I even went to choose the other pair of shoes over others, I was like, they're not going to, I don't like that part of the shoe, or, they're a bit bright, a bit leery for me. I don't want to stand out that much. I just want, a good pair of shoes that are also high performance, but not only at the gym, I can wear them, to the cafe, or, more lifestyle type things that, I can get away with wearing a pair of runners that don't look like a pair of runners. Yeah. That's why there's so many different shoes available, and why the same shoe gets released with the same technology, but a different look every year as well. Okay. Let's recap on that. Getting their attention is key. You need to think about each potential touch point that you're going to have with someone, and knowing your customer is critical. You need to look into the internal desires, problems, barriers, things that those people need to overcome to be able to put a good Facebook ad in front of them. Once you know that, and until you know that, your ads simply aren't going to land, as in they aren't going to get a reaction, they aren't going to deliver you results. If you're just talking about yourself, as in the business, and about you, it's not, at the end of the day, like, people are on Facebook and Instagram and are scrolling through to consume media from their friends, their family, maybe the media, news media, participate in discussions in groups. They don't go to Facebook or Instagram and go, "Gee, I wish I could get a latest ad from that business with a discount sale." Like, they're not there for that. But if that sale happened to come up and it spoke to, and I already knew that brand, and I was like, "Oh, I've got one of their products before, God, they're having 50% off sale. That's too good." Like, as if I'm not going to do that. But if I have no idea who you are, and then you're hitting me with a sale or a promo or come and do this, and this is why, this is, you need to come and do this now for us. Like all of that effort that you put into creating your ads is just done with a swipe of a thumb, because that's all they've got to do, just to swipe past that ad, and then all that advertising efforts that you put into that ad is done. So you need to get your ducks in a row first. Yes, it's a fair bit of work. Okay, let's go back to that funnel and why, how we're going to not only, now that we've got the emotional EQ side of things and we're understanding people, how do we put it in a formula and be able to put the right ad in front of them at the right time. Now, you might have seen, you might have heard about Facebook ads funnels before. This terminology is used in a lot of different Facebook and marketing in general, to be honest. It's not just Facebook. It's just, at the end of the day, it's really just any type of marketing tactic that you go out to a broad audience, and you gradually, as people drop out, you try to put another ad or another piece of content in front of the next people to get them to the next stage in the hope that they're going to give you money at the end of it. Now, what I do with the Facebook ads funnel is I overlay the goal of getting people from unaware or cold audiences, we often refer to them, through to warm audiences and people that have engaged with you, through to hot audiences in people that have purchased from you or are about to purchase from you. I overlay that with particular types of audiences that you can use in Facebook today. These are available all to you. You need to go in and be able to set these up. And this is how you build out your Facebook ad campaign strategy and be able to piece the different audiences together to have that conversation and keep those touch points going. Like that advertiser did with me when they hit me with an ad for a 15% off, and then they hit me with another ad for some more shoes to come back and buy. They knew me. They knew where I was at in my decision-making purchase, and they use these audiences that I'm going to talk about. So what we want to talk about at the top, we're going to come back to the top, but basically the worst case scenario is obviously having to go out to a cold audience. If we've got people that already know us, are aware of us and interact with us, then obviously they're going to perform better than people that don't know us. It's a lot cheaper to maintain a customer and keep a customer than it is to acquire a brand new one. So we're going to skip there. We are going to come back and show you how you can use that, but that is almost a worst case scenario. From here down, these are the ones we're going to pay attention to as advertisers, and that we want to try and build bigger to be able to show more ads to them and get them closer to the point of converting. All right. Let's talk about the first type of audiences. Now, all of these audiences that I'm talking about are people that have had engagements with you, have done something, interacted with your brand, and Facebook calls them custom audiences. It's a little bit of, I tend to have my own vernacular compared to what Facebook call them, because they call them really boring, basic stuff. I try to change the names a little bit, but Facebook calls them custom audiences. But just think, if they're in a custom audience, they've interacted with you somehow. Now, some of those interactions can happen on the actual platform itself. They don't even need to leave Facebook or Instagram for you to be able to capture that data that they're interacting with your business and your brand, so your Facebook page or your Instagram profile. Some things that we can track that they do, we can track engagements on particular posts. So engagements are liking, commenting, sharing, clicking, watching videos. We can track those people from both across Facebook and Instagram as well. These are available. Another one is the event audiences. So if you're using Facebook events, and you might have maybe it's an online event or maybe it's an in-person event. Hopefully it's an in-person event for you. And when you put up a Facebook event, people can choose two options that they have. And it's great for the non-committal people that can't commit to certain things, because they have an interested option and they have a going option. An interested option is obviously for people that don't want to commit yet. But if you can target an advertisement in front of the people that have clicked interested, let's say that ad said, here's what to expect at the event. Here's why you should buy your ticket. Or if it's a free event, here's why you should come along, and try to convince them to get them to go to the going stage. Then you can sort of differentiate between those two as well. Now, the last on-page audience that I want to talk about is probably one of the most powerful audiences, and it is when I run ads for clients. This is sort of one of the first initial goals that we do from a brand new campaign strategy, is try to collect people into video views audiences. So we can put a video out there and we can target it to as many people as we like. And we can track how long they've watched it for. If they've watched it for 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 25, 50, 75, 95%. Right now, why that matters is that if I've got a good video that I think is engaging, it uses the PAS formula to tell people a bit of a story. And I'm also aware that Facebook loves video because it keeps people on the platform. It keeps them engaged on the platform to be able to potentially see more advertisements from them. So they're going to reward me as an advertiser by putting videos in front of them. But it's a really non-committal or an action that they don't really need to do anything other than just stop scrolling. Like if they're connected to Wi-Fi, the video will automatically play. If they just stop and then they sit there and they consume the video, and it might be some of the most simple videos we do to start off with until we know really what messages work best, slideshows with text over the top that tell a bit of a story and it connect with people. So it's not necessarily always the quality of the video that's going to stand out and get them to watch longer. It's actually whether you can tell a good story that's going to connect with them. And so we put that video ad in front of as many people as we can. It's cheap to get video views out there. And we put it in front of a really broad audience. And the way that we determine who are our audience and who we're going to show the next ad to are the people that trigger some of the different thresholds of watching the video. Now, if I've got a 60-second video, for instance, and also to make my maths a little bit easier, and I have two audiences. I have one audience of people set up that have watched 10 seconds of the video, or 3 seconds of the video, let's say, and one audience set up of people that have watched, I'll say 25%, which would be 15 seconds. Obviously, those audiences would be different sizes because people will drop off after between 3 to 15 seconds and they won't trigger the next one. But when I'm looking at who's ready for another ad and who's more likely to be interested, and I look at the people that are in a 3-second audience or the people that are in a 15-second audience, fair chance that the people that have consumed 15 seconds of a video, which is a fair view on Facebook and Instagram world. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if they've consumed 15 seconds of a message of one of your videos, they're probably interested in, you've managed to at least hook them for a little bit. So they're a great audience that I can set up and say, if someone goes into this bucket, and that's what I call custom audiences, people that have watched this video for 15 seconds, show them this ad. And it's automated and it goes all the time. So as soon as people get into trigger that and they enter into that bucket, I have an ad set up that is targeted, and automatically when they log back onto Facebook or Instagram the next time, because they're in that bucket, they will see the next ad in the series. Right? This is how we piece together a campaign together. So that is stuff that they're doing on the platform without even exiting. Right? Now we're going to get into some of the good stuff where you can target people and the behaviors that they're doing off of the platform. Now, if people click on an ad, or even if they just go to your website from any other channel, could be Google, right? They could Google your problem, or Google your business, or whatever you offer in search results. They click on your website. Once they're on the website, there's a little thing that I'm going to talk about in the next slide called the Facebook Pixel that is seeing what they're doing on your website and what they aren't doing. What pages they're browsing, how long they're spending, what buttons they're clicking on, whether they've taken done behaviors such as adding products to their shopping cart, what products they're looking at. And on those product pages or those services pages, it's looking at the information. Facebook is looking at that information like Google does to rank in the search results, what that page is about, what products are there, how much are those products. And it's sending that data back to their ad system and their ads infrastructure, because they're collecting data about that user as well, obviously. But as an advertiser, we're collecting it as well, and it's available to us to then potentially show another ad to. So if they, came from Google and then they're on your website, and then we know that, hey, they've been to our website, or maybe they've been to you can go quite specific. And if they've been to a specific a specific page on your website, rather, it might be the order page or the sales page. And then the other thing we can do is we can exclude traffic as well. So, if I have converted and I have signed up or I have paid, don't need to put another ad in front of me because that's wasting money, right? But if I, on a particular /order page, and then I've come from Google later in the day, I'm killing a bit of time over lunch, and I open up Facebook or Instagram, and hey presto, there's an ad from that advertiser talking about the particular product or service that I was looking at because I was on that page on their website and looking at it there. Again, creating another bucket, creating another ad campaign. Once someone enters this bucket, show them this ad. Okay, talking about that funnel. So we're thinking about, all right, they've come from wherever it is, but they're now on our website, which is a little bit closer to the point of converting than they are just maybe, over on Facebook or Instagram and watching a video. A little bit more commitment they're showing to the brand. Now, to be able to do this and be able to track this, it doesn't just happen automatically. You do need to take 30 seconds to install what is called the Facebook Pixel, right? Now, it is free. Everyone has one. If you have an ads manager, if you've run ads before, you will have a Facebook Pixel. It is simple and easy to install on just about every website system out there, WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, Shopify, whatever it is. They have documentation around it. If you want to get my download, you can go to the URL at the bottom there, and you can see that and go through and install it. Now, regardless of whether you're going to run an ad tomorrow, next month, next year, without the Pixel, you don't know the kind of people that are going through to your website, right? And you owe it to yourself as a business and also to help your other elements on Facebook. Because remember, Facebook are gathering the information of what people are doing on your platform. So they're gathering more information, and they're also gathering more information around, all right, these are the type of people that are going through to the this advertiser's or potential advertiser's website. And so when you put up organic posts on Facebook and Instagram, it then goes, well, who am I going to share this to for organic reach, or the existing followers? Well, who is similar to the ones that have been on their website, because I've got the Facebook Pixel installed. Okay. So it allows you to build those audiences to remarket to them. It also is critical to be able to track in whether or not your campaigns have worked. So if someone has converted over there, it sends that information back to Ads Manager. So then it can, you can analyze how they're going, and also so Facebook can properly analyze it and optimize it for you, done automatically in the background via their algorithm and the machine learning, etc. Now, there is a little caveat with this, and this is only very recent, and this is the first time I've done a presentation post current situation in what I mentioned earlier, where you may have seen recently, if you have an iPhone, and you have the latest software update, that when you open up the apps, there will be a prompt that comes up and says, would you like whatever app it is to allow you to track you across its apps, services, and other properties, Facebook being one of them, but a lot of other websites have been impacted by the same thing, and people are automatically opted out rather than, and they have to actively opt in rather than usually what is the opposite way around. Great for privacy out there, certainly not against privacy at all. What it does, though, is that if people say to Facebook when they open up that app, and so far the stats say about 90 to 95% of iOS users, so it's only Apple users, have opted out, that have downloaded the latest version of the software, have opted out from tracking, because why wouldn't you? You don't necessarily want big corporations tracking you and doing things on there. So it means that some of that data that is happening on your website sometimes isn't available to you anymore as advertisers, which means that we need to go, well, how can we look at other audiences that we can do? And now Facebook has their own sort of internal model that, because they have so much existing data and because they have a fair indication on what people are or aren't doing on your platform, they're kind of providing the insights in Ads Manager, but it is still really early days. So you just need to be aware of this, that the Facebook Pixel is available. You should still install it. It is still a necessary part of your ad strategy, but be aware that over time, regardless whether it's Facebook, whether it's Google, it's going to happen. The same thing's going to happen across Android phones in 2022. The usual way that we've done a lot of online advertising is changing drastically. Okay. And we need to basically adapt to it. So if we can't necessarily get everything on our website, how can we get more audiences from some of those ones up here, the on-page audiences that I spoke about? How can we build those out more, and how can we use other platforms to be able to convert them, like Messenger or anything? If they're messaging our page on Facebook or Instagram, that's still on the platform, and that is actually, you know, one of the audiences available here. You can target people that have messaged your page recently as well. You know, Facebook, you can be sure that they're going to start to make it easier for people to stay on the platform because they don't know what they're doing after they exit, right? So they're going to be able to try to help advertisers out there. Or you can look at a couple of these other ones. One other one that is really interesting and a great one for people out there that haven't run ads before and may have an existing list of audiences, and just under half of people, according to the poll, haven't run ads before. So this might be a good one for you to start with, where you can take an existing Excel or CSV file, a database, basically, of people's information that you've collected, and please abide by this by this caveat that you have permission to use. Okay, that you have permission to be able to do this, and I'll go into that in a sec. But the details in that file can be things like name, email, age, address, phone, you know, basic demographic or contact data that you have. So if you've got, you know, a bunch of leads out there that you've got from a business that you've collected over the years, and pen and paper, you've got an Excel spreadsheet of that's your database lately, or, you know, you've had orders from people before, whatever it is, you've got an email database, you could upload these. So what you do is you take that Excel or CSV file and you upload it to create one of these custom audiences, another one of these buckets. These are called data custom audiences, by the way. Again, very boring name, but think of them like your data bucket. What Facebook does is it matches, so it looks at the people in that file and it says, all right, we know that, you know, Dan, first name, surname's Pennies, this is his email address, and this is his postcode, and it compares that file and the people in it and does a process called hashing, where it basically goes into this sort of space in between, and it matches, or it tries to find and compare to their 2.3 billion users across Facebook and Instagram, and find that that profile according to the information that you've got in your CSV data file that you have uploaded it. If it matches those two of those pieces of data, it doesn't tell you who has matched. It just tells you how many. If they find a match, they basically drop it into your data bucket, and that's another audience that you can use there as well. Now, when it comes to permission, one rule of thumb I always say is, if you wouldn't like your data uploaded there without your permission, don't do it to others. Okay, everyone's big on privacy until they have an opportunity to be able to benefit from the lack of privacy. I've seen it a lot before. If you don't have permission, so if you don't and you would like to get permission, one of the basically most simple ways you need to do that is you need to update your privacy policy and you should have it on your website wherever they're signing up. If it's, you know, even if it's in person at a expo or whatever it is, you need to have, you know, by signing this, you agree to our privacy policy, which can be found at so and so, and in there it needs to say, when you hand over your data, we will use it to, you know, market to you. We will also use it to potentially advertise to you across third-party platforms such as Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, whatever it is. Okay, you can maybe just say third-party advertising platforms. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty detail for it. If you Google Australian privacy policy out there, there are some great samples out there, and just make sure that it is an Australian, if that's where your business is based and targeting, by the way, as well. Okay, so another bucket that you've got that you can use, people that already know you, have interacted with you, have engaged with you. Now, all of these buckets are great because they're data that you own, or that you and Facebook can combine together to basically be able to go, these are my people. These are the ones that I want to put another ad in front of. But Facebook, I want to go and find more people that are similar to them. And this is probably one of my favorite, if not the favorite part of Facebook advertising and the targeting options. Now, remember at the top of the funnel earlier where I had two things. I had interest audiences and I had lookalike audiences. Right now, interest audiences are like I referred to earlier, where they may be, you know, more likely to buy or interested in dog toys, or more interested in cat videos. Okay. Lookalike audiences, they're similar to a custom audience, but basically one of those buckets is driving the targeting or telling the targeting algorithm who should be in this audience. So it looks at all of that data in that one of those existing buckets. Could be your data custom audience, your people that have watched 15 seconds of your video, people that have visited your website, whatever it is. And you say to Facebook, all right, you've got the algorithm, you've got the information, you've got the data. Here is who I want to find more people like. These are my tribe. These are my people. You go and do it, right? And you don't care whether they're interested in dog toys or cat videos or whatever else. You're not, because at the end of the day, we're kind of guessing to an extent, rather, of what these people are potentially interested in. And there are tens of thousands of interests when you go in there and you start typing, right? That's how most people start. But if you've got some data there that you can use, go to Facebook and go, can you just go and find them, right? Like, and you can narrow it by, might want to narrow it by age range or obviously a location or something like that. But if you can get a bucket with, I generally say, if you can aim to try and get 1,000 people in a bucket, that gives Facebook enough data to build a lookalike audience from. Doesn't mean you can't do it for less than 1,000 people, but the more people, the better, because if they've got more data to crunch, the more accurate that your lookalike audience is going to be. And when you go and set up any of these buckets in the audiences section in Facebook, it will ask you every time after you say, I want to, create an audience of people that have watched 25% of this video, and you create it and you label it and you go, publish or hit the enter button, whatever it is. And then it says, would you like to create a lookalike audience of that? And you go, yeah, why, yes, I would. And then you go and you find similar people to it. Now, lookalike audiences can only be made from data that you own. So John's just got a question. He said, can you create a lookalike audience or a new audience group based on someone else's Facebook page? No, you can't, John. Unfortunately, you can't steal other people's data. So that's why you need to set up your own custom audiences. You can target people that are similar to your Facebook page, but they don't let you go into other Facebook pages and find lookalike audiences of them. Now, the only other thing that you can occasionally do in the interests, and like I said, there are tens of thousands of different interests out there. And when you're setting up your campaigns, you can simply type and start searching. Now, there are interests around maybe particular brands or particular pages, but those pages need to be big pages. I'm talking sort of probably 100,000 sometimes. Like there's no rhyme or reason as to who is in there and who isn't. But larger celebrities, larger brands, your Coles, your Woolworths, you think your household names, basically. Not everyone will be in there. Like I said, until you get in there and start typing, you're not necessarily going to know. But that could be a good start for you to go, well, people that are interested in this larger brand, if you have none of these other buckets and custom audiences available to, I'm going to get a video. I'm going to put it in front of people that are interested in that brand because it's a similar brand to me. And then I can create my video custom audience from it. And I'm going to create a lookalike out of it. Okay. So you're kind of hacking the algorithm a little bit to give you that data, because the worst case scenario is to target people and general interests. 9 times out of 10, these lookalike audiences will outperform day-to-day interests that are listed in the Facebook Ads Manager targeting. Mira's got a question. What if you're starting out and don't have a big audience? Yeah, Mira, we're all there. Absolutely. So you need to start by at least having the opportunity to collect those audiences. So start by adding the pixel to your website. So if someone is going through to it, at least you can track them. Thinking about the content that you've got out there and that you're publishing organically day to day on your Facebook page, because the buckets with the engagement audiences particularly don't just need to be on ads. They can be on engagements on your Instagram profile and people that have interacted with your the feed, the post on your Instagram feed on the profile, the grid, sort of what I'm looking for, have watched some of your stories, have sent you a DM. Instagram engagement's great because it happens a lot more natively than it does on Facebook. So, if you've think about, you need to think, really, do I not have any of these potential audiences out there? Like, have I got a video that went really well? Like, can I go and find people that have watched that recently? And you can do it retrospectively with the stuff that happens on Facebook, right? You can't do it on your website because Facebook don't know, they're not collecting if that's not installed. So you only start building these audiences on your website from when you install the Facebook pixel. So you're at 0 at the moment if you don't have the pixel. If you install it today, you will start collecting from today onwards. But if you've had a Facebook or Instagram page for years, Facebook's got that data there anyway. So if you go, I want to find someone that's, people that have engaged with my page up for the past 365 days, that's a maximum length that you can go up to, right? So if you've had engagement for the past year, you've got people, you've got an audience that you can start to target. So you need to think about some of those options and how can I build them more easily? Should I put more videos out there to build the engagement audiences and the potential video views audiences? These on-page ones are like the low-hanging fruit for people that a lot of people just overlook because they think, well, I need to get them through to the website, and that's really the, that's the goal, right? Well, they've got to start somewhere, and like I said, we're all starting somewhere, we're all starting out. So think about the types of content you're out there, thinking about not only is it relevant to people, but is it going to help me build some of these custom audiences and these buckets out there as well? I get it. We've all got to start, but if you get your ducks in a row and set up the tracking properly with the pixel, etc., going to give you best shot possible. And 9 out of 10 advertisers out there have no idea that these custom audiences exist. Okay, so if you go in and set these up, you're going to most likely be outperforming your competitors sooner rather than later. Okay, let's do a quick little recap. By all means, keep the questions coming in as well. Custom audiences should be the first goal of your campaigns. Yes, we want more sales. Yes, we want more leads. But until we sometimes build up that relationship with people, it's not just going to switch it on and just watch that bank balance rise. Just doesn't happen. If you find a solution, an advertising platform out there that does, by all means, let me know, and I'll start to advertise on it. But it doesn't happen anywhere. It doesn't happen on Facebook ads. Setting up audiences in a pixel should be done before you start. Okay. Now with the caveat around the pixel as well, once you install that, Facebook has a couple of extra steps that they're now getting you to do to give you and them the best opportunity at being able to piece the different data points together and overcome some of those privacy barriers for people that are doing things on your website. And it's people often see, unfortunately, when people think privacy, they think it's the privacy from Facebook, which yes, it is. But if it was presented in a different way, where they said, hey, would you mind Facebook having your data if it meant that the small business down the road could still show you relevant advertisements? It's more 50-50 of people that choose to have their privacy, give up their privacy if it means that it's going to be a better experience for them. There's been a lot of studies, and it obviously varies across different age ranges as well. But unfortunately, as small businesses, we are probably one of the collateral damage out there of what's going on between the big tech companies out there at the moment. So just to be aware of. All right, no questions at the moment. By all means, keep them coming in, but I know you might see these next few slides and be wondering the big $1 billion question: how much should I spend? It's either the first or the last question that everyone asks. And it's not $1 billion, so don't worry. But the answer, and I'm not going to give you a cop out, I promise, but it does depend. Okay. I am going to give you an answer, so bear with me, but I want to sort of give you context as to why it does depend. It depends for starters as to how big your audience is. If you're targeting a smaller, more local area, localized area within a highly populated or a not very populated area, if you're targeting the whole country or the whole world, you're going to have to spend more money to target them. How much your product is as well, which can dictate how many steps it takes for people to actually convert. If you're buying a $120 pair of shoes like I did, compared to potentially signing up for a mortgage worth God knows how many hundred thousands of dollars these days, it's a slightly different kind of decision that you need to make, and it takes a little bit longer. But if that mortgage broker, bank, whatever it is, looked at how much money they're going to make at the end of that mortgage compared to how much that retail brand that sold where the shoes were, and if you were to say to the shoe seller, hey, it's going to cost you $100 just to get my details and sell me that pair of shoes, is that all right? And they'd probably go, well, I'm selling for $120, so that's probably not a good deal. But if you say to the bank, it's going to cost you $100 to get the details of that interested person in the mortgage, is that all right? And they're like, yeah, give me those leads, because it's going to be worth a hell of a lot more to me at the end of the day. Okay. Also, depending on what type of conversion you need, do you need to get them to, pay for something online? Is it more steps that they need to do on the website? Do they need to jump through more hoops? Is it just, a name and email? Do they need to sign up for a sales call to do it? Like, how can you make that external barriers, which are different to the internal ones, but how can you make it easier for them to get to that conversion? And if they need to take more steps, it is going to cost you more. And at the end of the day, what you're willing to pay to convert them, right? That example of the shoes or the mortgage broker, two very different industries, two very different examples, but it really comes down to both those advertisers need to know your numbers. Okay. So I can say, yeah, well, you got to spend this much. And you might go, oh, or you might go, no, that's not a bad deal. But you will only know that when you know different numbers, like how much it costs you to acquire, service, sell to that customer, what's left at the end of that, basically. Now, I said I was going to give you an answer. I have pushed my Facebook rep in Singapore to always give me an answer around this and how they explain it to different businesses. And here is what Facebook say. So as I suggested for small businesses starting out, they should at least be spending $15 per day per ad set for cold audiences. Now, what I mean by that is that the audiences that are at the top of the funnel, the people that are interested in dog toys. I don't know why I keep on picking those, but the people that are in the lookalike of my data bucket, the lookalike audience there, and maybe there's another audience of a lookalike of people that have watched 15 seconds of my video. Right, 3 different audiences, because I want to try and test which audience works best, which means that it would be $15 per day per each of those audiences. And an ad set, again, boring names, think of ad sets as audiences. Okay, so that would potentially cost me $45 per day. Now, that might sound like a lot, or maybe it doesn't to some of the advertisers out there. It's a couple of caveats, suggestions of how you can structure your costs a little bit more effectively. Now, when you get to the next level and you start to retarget people that are in those buckets and they've had any engagement with you, there's going to be less of them, and they're more likely to be interested in what you have to say. And Facebook know that, so they're going to make it cheaper for you to reach them. Okay, there's going to be less competition, and they know that, hey, this person has had an interaction with this brand. So when it comes to comparing this advertiser compared to the other advertiser, and we know that our brand has had that interaction, well, we're going to put that ad ahead of the other brand competitor that hasn't had that interaction yet, and they haven't tracked that those people have been in a custom audience. So we're not going to do that. We'll bump them down the newsfeed a little bit, and we'll make it cheaper for that advertiser to reach those people. Now, again, if you've got different buckets out there of people that have watched your video, people that have been to your website, people that have, maybe added to cart. Again, each of those is an audience / ad set of its own. So depending on the size, $5 to $10 per day per ad set for warm audiences. Now, when you're doing the math, you might be like, this is going to end up really expensive, right? Now, at the end of the day, you need to pay whatever you can afford, but be mindful that if you're paying less, it just takes longer to get the data and results that you need to make the next decisions, right? If I always say, people often say, well, if I know it's going to work, then I'll pay whatever it takes. Well, I don't know it's going to work unless you give me the best opportunity to see whether or not it works. So rather than thinking I'm just going to, dabble in Facebook ads and see after a while, I can almost guarantee you'll probably burn yourself out from trying to analyze the data and split in hairs, which might be minute because you just don't have enough budget to go across there. I would suggest that if you have the opportunity, hold off and save some of that money. And rather than going in for a penny, wait until you've saved up your pennies and go in for $1 and go in harder, higher at the start. And then you'll get the data faster and be able to make more strategic decisions that then you can spend less down the track, not more. we want to spend less, but you need to be able to get that information and be able to do that analysis properly to determine how much you need to spend. Okay. Now, a couple of things that I want to also mention around how you can be smarter with spending your money. This is the boring terminology that Facebook have, but this is a structure of how you will set up a campaign. All right, there are 3 levels. Even though we call it a campaign, the top level is called campaigns. And that basically all you do at that top level is you choose, there's about 11 or 12 different options, what you want people to do. I want them to go through to my website. I want them to watch more videos. I want them to purchase this product, or I want them to sign up on this landing page. That is the only decision that you make at the campaign level, because it dictates who Facebook put the ad in front of for the rest of the ad sets and the ads level. Okay, they know who is more likely to perform that campaign objective that you set at the very top. All right, and that could be 2 very different people, even though you're targeting the one audience. There'll be different people that are within that audience that are more likely to do that behavior. Now, while that is one of the only options you choose, the rest of the sort of what I call the nuts and bolts, the who, the where, the when, and how much, are set at the ad set level. Again, ad set, think audience, horrible term, but the middle part is who you're targeting, where you're placing your ad. Is it across Facebook and Instagram? When are you, how long do you want to run it for? Do you want to run it every day? Do you want to run it for a month? Do you want it to end on this particular day? Do you want to start on this particular day? A couple of other different options in there as well. And it used to be where you would set the budget, right? So going back to my example where you have to have $15 per day per ad set for cold audiences. If I took this example down here where I've got ad set 1, ad set 2, ad set 3, I would have to have $15, $15, $15, right? If I wanted to run all of these, test all of these audiences all at the same time, totaling $45 a day. Now, Facebook have introduced a couple of years ago, nearly almost, maybe 18 months. But it is a fantastic option for small businesses out there. What you can do, what Facebook and their algorithm has come up with and says, all right, look, rather than you spending $15 per day across each of these, tell us how much you've got overall. And rather than setting the budget at the ad set level, you can toggle on this option up at the campaign level called campaign budget optimization. And you can say to Facebook, all right, I don't have $45. I've got a little bit more than 15. Let's say I've got $25. All right, let's call it roughly in the middle. I've got $25. All right, Facebook, toggle it on campaign budget optimization. I'm spending $25 a day. Now, what Facebook does is it says, okay, we've got you $25 throughout the day and every second of every minute. We are going to determine out of these audiences, ad sets down here, are going to perform best, and then that's where we're going to spend the money. Because if you were, say, spending $15 on each of these, and it's likely that probably one is going to perform better than the other 2. Now, if Facebook could get better results, they would, but they end up getting towards the end of how much they're spending on that day, and they've spent the $15 and they're like, oh, well, I can't get more results. Well, if you say up here, I've got $25, and they might go, well, this ad set 1 is killing it, so we're going to spend $20 today on that out of the 25. And we're going to split the 5 over the other 2 ad sets over here. Now, it might completely swap the next day, and maybe ad set 2 is the winner, and they'll be spending, $17 there. We're splitting the rest there. It might be spread evenly. Okay, but it's a great option for people with smaller budgets to be smarter with it, to be able to get data a little bit faster, but you still need to, be at least outbidding, like within the be competitive is what I'm trying to say, in the actual ecosystem itself as well. Now, getting down to the next level, we have, so this is the nuts and bolts, then we have the ads of what the user actually sees. This is what will show it to them. Now, you can do as many variations of these as you like. And, when we're setting up a brand new campaign to a brand, to test a brand new bunch of audiences, we'll run the same ad or ads again, because we don't necessarily know 100% what message is going to resonate best. So we might create 3 variations of an ad, and it might be one around a particular message. It might just be, a different type of video. It might be a different color image or something like that, or different copy and captions. And we'll keep this consistent across each of these audiences. So we know, all right, we've got this campaign budget optimization up here. Ad set 1 is a winner, and is getting better results, because across ad set 2 and ad set 3, we're showing exactly the same thing. So really the only difference out of this whole campaign is what's happening in the middle level here. All right. Now, once you've sort of got, okay, that audience is going really well. All right, I'm going to switch off these other two audiences over here, and I'm going to, funnel that budget down here. And then you can start to test which of the ads. You can go, out of, ads 1, 2, and 3, ad 2 is going really well. So I'm gonna actually switch off the other 2 ads as well. And this ad is about, how, let's say, what was, so I'm just going to go back to John's example of selling a good night's sleep. This ad number 2 was, a video of a guy that, spoke about his, followed him throughout the day and how productive he was, and he was up and he was at him and he was energetic. And, then it did a little rewind. And then, 8 hours prior, you saw him hitting the hay on his mattress. And the whole reason he was so successful and so energetic throughout the day was because he got a good night's sleep. Well, that message resonates. So how can we build on that a little bit more? What other things can we do? How can we talk about that message a little bit more? Can we introduce other characters? Can we, build out some other variations of the video? That message is resonating. That's something we need to do. Do we need to improve the video? Can we invest a little bit more money in having a video that can run on our website and everywhere else? Okay, so it's sort of driving a lot more marketing messages out there as well. Speaking of the ads, if you're not with me and you are having dinner or having a wine, I just want you to bring your attention back to the screen for a second on how to create a quality Facebook ad. Okay, you ready? Keep your eye on this. Off we go. So who did that in that order? This is something I saw a few years ago, and it sort of came up and it resonated with me because and it was around a study of how Facebook's track people's eye movements as how they scroll through the news feed, both on mobile and on desktop. And the reason why it's like that is because this kind of reflects how a Facebook post is shown to people. So the big text is the middle part, being the image or the video and the first frame of the video. That is what grabs people's attentions first. Okay, before anything else, they will see what is in the middle and whether or not their brain is, analyzing all of this in milliseconds to determine whether or not their eyes will then go down to the bottom section. So this is the next section. And often they read this on these particular type of posts because the headline is a little bit bolder and it's a little bit bigger text up there as well. So it goes bump down and then it comes up and it goes, who is this? And then it reads the caption up there. And if you open up your phone, permission, because this is a Facebook advertising webinar, you can open up your phone and open up Instagram and open up Facebook and see whether your eyes do this and how you can piece together an ad. So I say that because keep that in mind when you are creating ads both tactically and creatively. right? How can you get them to engage with it? How can you stand out the news feed? What is that image or that first frame of that video, right? Or that Facebook says you've got 3/4 of a second to get someone's attention in a video, right? So whether or not they keep on scrolling past it. So if you've got a video and it's got a nice flashy intro that's with a logo that's spinning around and sparkling and fireworks go off and it goes for 3 seconds before you actually get into the meat of the video, get rid of it, right? Start from what is relevant, okay? If there is stuff that is waffly and you lose people's attention, they will keep on scrolling, okay? Stand out, give them, it needs to grab their attention. You need to tell a story and tell them where to go next. Like so many ads and so many posts out there are like, oh, this video is really great. Like I always use the examples of like the recipe videos I see from Tasty and all those different types of BuzzFeedy type ones. And I wish some of them would just have in the caption the bloody link to the recipe, right? And they always have it in the first comment or something like that. But I'm like, and you have to go to the comments. And I know they do it to try and drive engagement. It does my head in, but I wish just in the caption they would say, this is the XYZ, get the recipe here and a link, right? And I see this in small businesses out there. There's this awesome video, but what do I do next? Like, even if it is, you know, get a free obligation quote or browse our store here or go and read our latest blog post here, which is it's within context of what the video or the image is about. Give them somewhere to go. People are intuitively lazy human beings on technology, and so you need to be able to give them direction, okay? And you need to speak to them, that last point around the tactical, does need to speak to them according to their position in the funnel, right? If you've got a brand that is a bit, and the tone of voice is probably different than what maybe people are used to seeing on Facebook and Instagram, which is great. If you've got a brand personality, amazing that you can engage with your community. But if you speak that way to people that don't know or understand that tone of voice yet, and it's the first thing that they potentially see, it might not land, or they might not get some of the in-jokes, or they might not understand the tone of voice until they actually start to interact with you and they see the language gradually start to change as they see more ads and they follow you on Facebook or they follow you on Instagram. And then they get, all right, I like how this person kind of talks. But if you're trying to speak to them in a way that they just don't understand or get because they don't know, like, or trust you yet, then it's hard, right? So keeping in mind where these people are at when they're in that decision-making process. Now, one of my other big hidden secrets, full of them tonight, this is somewhere that you can go and stalk your competitors and every ad that is currently live on Facebook, regardless of whether you are in their target audience or not. Yes, you can go to every page on Facebook. You can type in their Facebook page name and you can see every current ad that is live at the moment. So if you would like some inspiration, if you would like to pick holes in your competitors, if you would like to create better ads than your competitors, go to the Facebook ads library, start typing, and you can see you can't see who they're targeting or how much they're spending, but you can see every ad that is currently live in there as well. You can see what it looks like across Facebook, Instagram, where they're driving traffic through to as well. Also, if you want to, research around different industries as well and get examples, not just sometimes some of the ads in other industries or similar kind of like similar. What am I trying to talk about? Like, let's say the beautician, right? If I was in the beautician example, I might be looking at some of the makeup brands and the ads that they're running because it's similar. They're talking to a similar clientele out there as well. So you can use some of the examples from other industries, the other verticals rather that are right next to you. Okay. Analyzing your Facebook campaigns. Again, at the end of the day, you need to know your numbers. You need to know your goals. You need to know your numbers. There are a couple of good metrics out there that you can keep an eye on in your ads manager. Again, it's fully transparent. All these metrics are there and available to three of them are called quality, engagement, and conversion ranking. It's really interesting to see, and they basically rank it from above average or below average. And what that indicates is how well targeted your ads are to that current audience. So it gives you an indication on the audience that you're targeting with this ad. So it's at the ad level. It says this ad is a high quality to this audience and is creating a high quality experience. So that experience cannot just be the ad, but can it be the post-click experience? So on the website, what's likely to happen on the website? Is that a quality experience in relation to the audience that you're targeting? Same with engagement. Are people likely to engage with this ad as well? And is it likely to actually convert? So when it comes, conversion ranking is one of those great metrics. So you can go, well, if I want more sales or I want more leads and I'm targeting this audience, am I likely to get conversions from it? This will start to tell you before you can even, after, like, I think it's like 500 impressions, which is people actually seeing the ad. So it switches on pretty quickly. And and you can get 500 impressions in like a few hours. Okay. And so you can start to see some of the analysis after a few hours, as opposed to maybe waiting a week to making other decisions. A couple of the other metrics that people don't necessarily know a bit about. Frequency is one of those ones that, we've all been there as customers, where we see the same ad in our newsfeed over and over and over again, and it gets a little bit annoying. Frequency is one of those things that Facebook say this ad has been in front of people on an average of this many times. Now, I tend to say, if you've seen the same ad probably 3 times or more in your newsfeed, you're going to start to ignore it, and it's probably just going to be blocked out of when it scrolls through your newsfeed, and you're just going to not pay any attention to it. So if your frequency is getting high, it sometimes indicates that maybe you just need to change the ad. It might be the color of the image or the caption or the video or whatever it is that resets the frequency back to 0. And then you start again. Okay. Sometimes that's maybe all an ad needs. And then if you, all of the different industries that are in here this evening, go to Google and type Facebook advertising benchmark costs, benchmarks for insert industry here, right? There are dozens of different studies around there, around Google on benchmarks and potential costs and targets that you should be looking at, that you can help with that analysis to at least give you an indication as to how your ads are going. All right. Last couple of little things to be able to get to those metrics, by the way, is you need to, in Ads Manager, there's a little drop down where you have dozens of different metrics in there, including those ones that I just mentioned. So drop down under the columns section, which defaults to usually, like, Facebook has their default sort of analysis. I think the one is like performance and clicks, but doesn't actually give you the whole picture. So first thing I do when I go into analyze campaigns is I drop down this drop down here and I go to customize columns, and then I choose the ones that I choose the metrics that I want to look at, and then you can actually save it as a preset, so you don't need to do it every single time. Makes it a lot easier. Now, the last little thing for this evening, the key to unlocking successful Facebook ad campaigns. What do you think it is? Keep in mind, we've been through, our messaging this evening. We've got to know our customers. We've understood the capabilities and the background of why Facebook ads are popular. We've spoken about how to create a good ad. We've spoken about the custom audiences and the buckets, how to target people and the Facebook ad funnel. Anyone got any ideas around the key to unlocking a successful Facebook ad campaign? Feel free to type it in the comments. I'm just catching a couple of answers as well. No guesses. That's all right. We'll skip. I'll give you the answer. It's mindset. It's none of those things that we've spoken about necessarily this evening. No one thing will be the key to unlocking it, but this is a key to being able to maintain success over time. It is frustrating. I get it. This has been an hour and 3/4 of fairly intense kind of education that it takes time to build these out, to get results. People give up a lot Okay, people are frustrated, and it's not easy for a reason. Okay, like if it worked every single time, a lot more people would be doing it, and there still are a lot more people doing it. There's 70 million pages on Facebook, but there's only 7 million advertisers, right? And that ebbs and flows each year. But it is still getting competitive. As much as people say people don't use Facebook anymore, well, the advertising revenue continues to grow quarter on quarter, and the amount of advertisers on the platform continues to grow. I wouldn't be here talking about Facebook advertising for 2 hours. I wouldn't have a business with clients that I run Facebook ads for if I didn't think it was worth it. Okay, I get it. It's hard and it's tough and it takes work. But if you're willing to put in the work, which a lot of businesses aren't, and that's sometimes the difference between businesses succeeding or not and lasting for a longer duration. If you're not willing to put in the work for this, it's not going to work. And if you're not willing to do it, I'd almost go to the point of saying don't. Like, if you don't want to put in the time and the effort into this, this isn't the right solution for you. Go and try something easier. Try some Google ads or something like that, right? You can have some AdWords. It's a totally different platform. But the cost, and I still think in 2021, even though we're halfway through, out of all the advertising platforms out there, pound for pound, if I'm a small business, this is where I'm spending my money. Yes, I'm biased, but I work with agencies that I white label my services that have different marketing tactics out there, that have larger budgets than you and me, and I'm just part of the overall advertising budget. But 99% of the time, Facebook ads are outperforming any other type of medium out there, right? It works if you do it properly, and it's incredibly powerful. And what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's powerful. I can't think of the other. It's empowering. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. It's incredibly empowering. It's obviously getting towards the end of this 2 hours. It's incredibly empowering as a small business when you start to see results come through in Facebook ads, right? When you start to see the purchases value being higher than the amount that you've spent. When you start to see those costs come down and people start to comment on your ads and you start to see results. Because you're putting an ad out there and you're putting, how and you understand people, and you've put time and effort into creating these ads and getting to know them, and, writing captions and everything like that, and putting effort into these. It's great to see results. And I think it's really worth it if you're willing to put in that work. John, compared to even Google ads, John asks, yeah. Yep. If you're wanting to, depending on the industry, obviously, but overall, pound for pound, if you're putting ads out there on Google, you're only targeting the people that are interested in your product at that particular point in time and are searching for that. Facebook and Instagram opens up the potential to target 2.3 billion people that aren't aware that you have a solution that can solve their problem yet, or may not even be aware of their problem or desire, right? But you're there to educate them. You're only targeting a much more minute number of people on Google that are at that particular point in time that you want to convert. Mira says Facebook is supposed to have the best AI. Yeah, look, the algorithm is incredibly powerful, right? It's over the years, we've all been there as consumers and seen ads pop up that are scarily accurate. And no, they don't listen to you before you ask. All right, quick recap. Any last questions, by all means, stick them in the chat window there. You need to know a lot about your campaigns before you set them up. Analyzing them regularly will make sure that they're successful. And mindset and your approach to advertising is the key. Folks, any last questions before we wrap up? I'm going to jump over to the chat window and just go catch up on any last little questions. Paul, I saw your question sent there just around the intensive instruction. I'm happy to pay for or utilize your services to implement. How do I best go about that? Thanks for your email. I'll note that down. Paul, for everyone else, though, Paul's wondering how to get some more one-on-one help. This is the best way to get my one-on-one help there as well. Contact the guys at ASBAS. I think Francisco, if he's still in the room, might be able to put a link to be able to purchase more one-on-one paid mentoring. I think that's still being offered, but if you contact the guys, they'll be able to give you an insight. If it's not being offered, you've got 13 days until the end of the financial year that you can purchase one, and then book me, and we can sit down and go into more in depth of what we've done tonight for 2 hours. We can jump into your ads manager. We can set up a campaign. We can come up with your strategy and your funnel and who you're going to target, when you're going to target them. So by the end of that 2 hours, you will effectively have a campaign up and ready to go. If you've got an ad there that you want to promote, or something that you want to say, we can start with that. We can have the basis of your Facebook advertising journey set up in 2 hours. So that's the best option there for you, Paul. But I'll just grab your email before. If I can copy that, just copy it into my notes over here. Where are we? Yeah. Okay. Moy's got a question now. Facebook posting has reduced in reach dramatically recently. Is it to do with separation from Apple? Not necessarily the Facebook reach organically, because you're really only targeting people that are already on the platform anyway. A lot of what the separation between Facebook and Apple is happening, what is happening once they exit the platform. The reduction in reach, I did see a couple of things today saying some people that organic reach is dropping, and has dropped even further. Look, eventually you will get to a point where organic posting on Facebook anyway is going to be a lot more time and effort than it's actually worth. And yes, it's unfortunate, but the fact of the matter is that everyone on Facebook can see upwards of, on any one particular day, can see up to nearly 3,000 different posts on that particular day. Facebook limits that to about 150 to 200, and they need to stick their ads in there as well, which means that competition is as high as it's ever been. There's still the same amount of content going through the platform. Fortunately, if your content doesn't stack up against the competitors, they just won't get shown. So Facebook reach will continue to drop and drop until you need to think about a Facebook advertising strategy if you want to have success on the platform. Still okay on Instagram though, if you want to do. Francisco has put in the ASBAS, the digital solutions mentoring is accessible via the members portal. So if you go to, I think it's asbas.melbourneinnovation.com, I think. I'll type it in and hopefully it'll be in my history, and I'll type it in there as well. One other thing while I'm typing this out as well, folks, don't forget to fill out the survey for this evening. You'll be chased by Francisco to fill it out. If you don't this evening, the link is pinned to the top of the chat window. Hit that Survey Monkey link. Please, I'd love your feedback as well. If there's anything that you've got to say about this evening's session, anything that you'd like me to go into detail in down the track, any other feedback, good, bad, or otherwise, just fill that out via the Survey Monkey. Yes, that ASBAS link is in the chat window as well. All right. Any other questions, folks? Paul, John, thanks again, everyone. By the way, if you've stuck it out for the new going on 2 hours, still a handful of people in here, which is great. Really appreciate your attention this evening. Like I said, you can get the slides via that link there at the bottom of the screen, or under the offers section. You can go to download them there. If you would like to go into more detail, but I always recommend that you jump in and book on and take advantage of that mentoring. 2 hours, $25. Do it at a time that suits both of us via Zoom. You can book it in on my calendar. You get the recording and all the notes and all the good stuff, and it's yours forever. So you can always refer back to it. It's a great opportunity for people out there, particularly, if we're all in Melbourne and around Melbourne. I think what we're currently facing over the last few weeks, and hopefully we're coming out of this current point. But there are some times where it will turn on its head at the 11th hour, and having systems like Facebook ads set up to be able to switch on and or off, or maybe put some more money behind, or reduce the amount of money when things go one way or the other, means that at least we have the ability to maintain a relationship with our customers out there, that we can keep them either updated or give them an option to still interact with us and give us some money as businesses out there at the end of the day. So this is a great opportunity for businesses out there to get in front of, a localized audience that I think the general public, all things considered, over the last 12 months, certainly as small businesses, we're in a great position where, when people are looking to buy a little bit more locally and a little bit more and supporting their smaller businesses out there. So we're in a position where we can start to connect with them on more of an emotional level compared to some of the larger brands out there. And if we, put a good ad in front of them that speaks to them in the way that connects with them, we've got a great opportunity to be able to do that compared to some of the other larger businesses out there that sit behind a logo, and just can't get that one-on-one connection. That's our little feather in the cap that we have when it comes to Facebook. And being able to show the people behind that is actually my last tip for tonight. Make sure that you talk about yourself a little bit in your business and who is behind it. Not necessarily the first thing, but if people want to trust your business, they want to know the people. People connect with people at the end of the day. Put your face up there, even as an ad. One of the best ads we do, towards the end of the funnel when people are umming and ahhing, and we sometimes just put a little video up there with one of the owners, and this is who I am, and this is why I got into the business. This is my story. This is my family. This is what I do on the weekends. This is where we're based. This is how I can help. Let me know if you've got any questions. It's just, a real gentle type sell, but it, funnily enough, when they're looking at videos, human faces, if I can stop sharing, I think, we've got all three of us on there. How can I eject? I can. That might eject me. I'll go back there. How do I do this? People buy from people, and human faces connect with other human faces out there. So enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening, wherever you are around the world. Hope you have a great Friday and the rest of the weekend. Go have some dinner, or if you haven't had dinner, if you've already had dinner, I hope you enjoyed it. If you had a wine or a beer, I'm going to go enjoy you and join you for the rest of the evening. I'm starting to make no sense, so I'm just going to hang up for the rest of the evening. Folks, head to that URL if you want to get the slides, contact me for any more information, and hopefully I'll see you on one of the 2-hour mentoring sessions down the track, or potentially on another webinar as well. Really appreciate your time, your company. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.